You are tuned in to SonicAsylumRadio.com. This is Metal Euphoria, and I'm your hostess, Metal Maiden Vicky. And the song that I kicked off this last set with was a brand new Fate's Warning. That song was called 7 Stars, off of their brand new release that came out this year entitled Theories of Flight. And the song you just heard was Steve Bello, Nuclear Paradise. And that comes off of his brand new latest release that came out last year, Layers of Time. And that brings me to, I want to welcome to the show my very special guest today, Steve Bello. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Doing pretty good. I enjoyed the drive up here. It's very nice.
Yeah, now you came up from New Jersey, so you're like an hour south of me.
Yeah. I got here relatively quick, so.
Very cool. And you ran into no traffic. Everything was good.
Very tiny traffic, a lot of rain, but.
Yeah, I was telling the people in the chat room, these storms just kind of blew through here.
Yeah, it was nuts.
And I knew you were heading your way up here, probably going on the goat trail. Did you get when you went over the Bear Mountain Bridge, you're on this windy road?
Yes.
That's called the goat trail.
That was really cool, though.
Yeah. A lot of people, that freaks out a lot of people, that road. We have some people in the chat room. Oh, Maddie Rose just joined us. What's going on, Maddie? And wanted to say hi to Gabby listening out in the chat room, and Lori and Vic Grabowski and Katie and Mad Brad, and we got Vanessa listening out in Queens. Yeah, and we have Geronimo listening out in North Carolina. So it's all good. Well, Steve, what I want to do is first now, you've been an accomplished musician for many years now, and I kind of want to get into your early days. When did you first know or have the desire to become a musician, and was guitar your first love?
Well, music was always in my house. I discovered Led Zeppelin when I was 4.
Nice.
My aunt was playing it in her bedroom, and I heard this music, and most kids at that time were getting into Sesame Street, and I was like, wow, I like this a lot better. And, but I had my grandfather on the other side of the house playing jazz guitar. He was playing in wedding bands, and I thought, well, I like that there's somebody in this house playing guitar, but I want to play the other music. But I was 9 when my father got me my first acoustic, and I wouldn't touch it because it wasn't electric, of course. And I tinkered on it for a little bit, and I always told myself, you're just not cool enough to play guitar, because I had friends that owned guitars, and they just seemed a lot cooler than me. And but the desire to learn an instrument was there, and it wasn't until I was 12 and, I saw Jimi Hendrix footage of him at Monterey, and
yes.
That was it. And it was between that and seeing Rainbow on MTV. MTV was pretty brand new. And Richie Blackmore smashing his Strat, and I'm like, okay, that's it. I gotta take guitar more seriously, and that was pretty much it. And I discovered all these metal bands like Priest and Maiden and Accept and Scorpions and Loudness, and then I was getting into bands like Rush, Yes, and early Genesis. So I had like a hodgepodge of things coming at me, but for me the turning point was seeing Jimi Hendrix light his guitar on fire.
Right.
And I thought, all right, I gotta play.
He's extremely influential, and he was so unique. I can definitely see how somebody at a young age could be like just enamored by him.
Oh, it was crazy.
That would make me want to pick up the instrument as well, seeing something like that. So again, your first guitar was an acoustic that your dad got you?
Yeah, he got me a Sears guitar.
A Sears? Well,
And I wouldn't play it. So my grandfather had an old Gibson pickup he put in the sound hole, and I'm like, now I'm really not as cool. I wasn't cool, now I'm worse. And then my dad used to work with a guy at a machine shop in the early 80s. He was a guitar player, and he had a beat-up, looked like a Fender Jazzmaster knockoff. So my dad came home with this electric guitar, and I said, cool, but I don't like the color. I hate sunburst. So the guy painted it shocking blue.
Okay.
And then I started playing it.
Nice.
And I knew back then I was going to be neurotic and, weird like that because I wouldn't play a guitar because it was a specific color. So.
Well, I can definitely understand that. If you got to feel comfortable playing the guitar all the way around, and if you're playing a guitar, and you're like, I really don't like this color, it's not going to have the same feel for you.
No, not at all.
So, but Shocking Blue was it for you? That was good.
Well, it was a start. I mean, it was a beat up guitar, and I had a little 2-watt amp, but I still have my first distortion pedal I ever got. I have a Boss Heavy Metal pedal.
Oh, wow.
I still have that. I got that in '83. And that was my sound back then. And I was the happiest kid alive. And then I saw somebody with a Marshall stack. I went, okay, I really suck. I need a Marshall stack. I need to look cool. So I didn't get a Marshall stack till years later. But, it seemed like every time I felt like, okay, I've got something cool. I've got a new pedal. Now I need a better looking guitar, now I need a bigger amp, and now I need this, and now I need that. I just was never satisfied, and, it just made me grow as a musician, I guess. And my first real electric guitar, I always wanted a Fender Strat, but at the time they were expensive. So I saw a Guild Strat, and I think it was supposed to be $400, but they misnagged it at $250.
Nice.
So my first real electric was a cherry red Strat. I loved that. I wish I still had it, but
Oh, wow. Very cool.
When you're a kid, you don't know these things, so.
Right, exactly. And what do you play now?
I'm all Ibanez. I've been endorsed with Ibanez since 2003, but I've always been a fan of Ibanez since the 80s, with Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, and all those guys. So I saw them, and I went, I got to play Ibanez, and that was it, And I've had other model guitars over the years. I've had Kramers, I've had BC Riches. Some people might be surprised to hear that, but when Ibanez came at me in 2003 for an endorsement, I went, okay, I'm sold. All I want to play is Ibanez anyway, so.
Oh, that's great. So 13 years you've been endorsed by them.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Now, were you self-taught, or did you have formal lessons, or did you just kind of put on records and, go from there?
Well, my grandfather, he was a great player, but he was not patient with teaching.
Okay.
When he sat down with me and he would show me, the Mel Bay book, which I think everybody used when they were a kid. He said, okay, here's the E string. I plucked the E string the wrong way. And he looked at my mother, Grace, he's never going to do this. I give up. So I said, well, I guess I'm never going to be good. I didn't pick the string the right way. And I started teaching myself a little bit, but I just wasn't motivated because I wasn't feeling it, but I know I want to play. And like I said, when I saw Hendrix, I just went, okay, now I'm playing guitar for real. I just sat down with a bunch of books, and I did the thing where I'd slow the record down. For all you youngers out there, you youngins, I had a turntable that you slow down to 16 RPM, and everything sounded like this. And that's how I learned solos, and people probably won't believe me, but the first, I bought a Rush songbook, and that's how I learned chords.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I learned chords and I learned time signatures. So Rush actually introduced me to music theory in a weird way. So
that's awesome. I mean, a great band to introduce you know? Absolutely. So that's pretty cool. So you just kind of was self-taught. I find that so fascinating when musicians do that. And you just start to pick up things as you go along and learn, like you said, you've got to learn the music theory. Yeah. That's one thing I've never learned. So it's... I think it's admirable for people that know music theory. People, a lot of times people think you're just up there strumming along, but there's really a whole science and education behind all of that.
Well, I mean, I can, as a guitar teacher for 20 years, one thing I say, and I do tell my students this, some of the most amazing musicians can't read a stitch of music, and they wouldn't know what an E-flat major 7 is, but if something sounds good to them, and it motivates them to write good music, that's really the most important thing.
Right.
There are players that blow me into the weeds with what they know music theory-wise and chops-wise, but, they'll never write a song that you can tap your foot to. And what I like to do, and it's something, again, I install with my students, learn your theory, whatever you can absorb. But at the end of the day, if you could write a catchy tune and have somebody in the room go, yeah, that's pretty freaking cool, man, then you got them. If you can... I always say the true test is if you write something and somebody's in the room and they're bopping their head and there's no drums, you got them.
Right, exactly. Exactly. So 20 years you've been teaching. That's fantastic.
Yes.
Do you do it privately or through a school or?
Yeah, nobody knows. I do privately. Nobody sees me. I wear like a black sheet. Nobody sees me. It's very private. I've been teaching private for 20 years, guitar and bass. I've had students last 4 years. I've had students last literally a day. It's attitude and aptitude when it comes to teaching and learning. And I learn from my students as much as they learn from me. I've had students say, I had a student that wanted to learn country, and I went, okay. And he played me this tune, and there's some ripping guitar work in. I think it was like a Brad Paisley song, and it gave me homework. Like, I should be giving you money for lessons because you showed me something.
Right.
And I'm not going to join a country band tomorrow. No offense to country players, but I have something in my back pocket where somebody says, "Oh, Bello can play his metal." I'm just like, "Yeah, check this out."
Right. So let me rip out this country tune for you. Yeah, that's so funny. What ages do you normally teach? All ages, or?
I do have a cutoff because I've had students as young as 8, and honestly, they love the idea of playing guitar, but to put the work into it, and I can't blame them for thinking this way. They'll look outside; it's a gorgeous sunny day. I'd rather play outside with my friends than learn what an A chord is. I get it.
Right.
I've had students from all walks of life, various ages. I had one guy, he said, "I just want to learn Purple Haze and I'll be the happiest man alive." And I showed him Purple Haze, he paid me, and that's all he wanted.
Wow. That's interesting, yeah.
That's all he cared about. So I made his day. I made his year.
Okay.
I still talk to him, actually, on through regular email. I'm like, "Hey, man, how's it going?" But...
Like, has he learned anything else you wanted throughout the years?
He might have, but that's all he cared about. He said, "I want to learn the blues. I've got to learn Purple Haze." So
that's awesome. You had mentioned seeing Jimi Hendrix, of course. Now, do you remember the first song that you actually officially learned on the guitar?
"Rocket Like a Hurricane" by the Scorpions.
Ah, really?
Yes, and
okay.
the reason being, the chords looked easy when I saw the sheet music for it, because back then there was no such thing as tablature. Everything was piano music with the chord charts on top. And I'm thinking, I don't know anybody's going to play a lounge version of Scorpion songs, So I'm looking at the chords like, oh, it's only 5 chords. How hard could it be? And I'm like, wow, this chord, wait a minute. I sound like Rudolph Schenker now. I'm the coolest guy in the world. I was 13, and I felt like I was 40 feet tall. I'm like, that's it, I'm joining a band. I can play this song. And I played that song ad nauseum. My father would be like, "Do you know any other songs?" And I'm like, I'm just so happy.
But it's a song, yeah, absolutely.
So that was definitely the first song I ever learned from start to finish.
That's awesome. Katie, hanging out in the chat room, she said that she loves the Purple Haze story. That's the power of music.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. If it wasn't for Hendrix, I wouldn't be sitting here.
Wow.
Actually, if it wasn't for my car, I wouldn't be sitting here. So.
That's very true, Steve.
Well, yes.
Yes. So that's very cool. So, learning that at 13, when did you officially first join a band? Where you got together with some kids from school, or?
Yeah, the first band I played in, and I'm going to hide under a rock after I tell this story. I was in a band called Burgundy Mist.
Okay.
I wanted to be in a metal band, but I was deemed uncool. Either because I didn't drink, I didn't have long enough hair. But people would be like, "Well, you can play the guitar, but you're kind of weird looking, and we want someone that's going to party." And there was a drummer that I played with in the summer of '85. His name was Rob, and we jammed, and we said, "All right, we have to start a band," and we could never find anybody. And then one day he came up to me in school about a year later. He said, "Look, I met this singer." Okay, great. And he couldn't sing, but I thought, well, screw it, I'm in a band.
Right.
I'm cool. Chicks will dig me. None of that ever happened, but that was my first band. We had a keyboardist, and then we found a bass player, and we set ourselves apart purely because we couldn't sound like anybody else. We covered a lot of weird styles like Billy Idol, Dokken, Zeppelin, of course. We tried tackling a couple of Rush tunes, and we sounded like Rush's first day playing their instruments. So it was okay. We're not going to try any Rush, but. But looking back, we were a terrible band. We were nowhere close to being a band where people, they were pretty decent. But we did some shows, suddenly people that wouldn't give me the time of day in high school went, Bello's kind of strange, but he could really play the guitar. We got to see this band more often. And, I kept hearing the sound of this, and went, I want to hear more of this when I play, so that's why I kept at it. So yeah, that was my first band.
Wow, Burgundy Mist.
That was 1986,
you've resolved the hair situation, Steve.
Yes, so if those bands want me now.
Exactly.
Let's get back together.
For those of you that are listening that don't know, Steve has hair about halfway down his back. So you've gotten that resolved.
If I looked like this in high school, think of the bands I could have been in, man. Dude,
if you only had the hair and a beer in your hand,
No, well, I got this mineral water. So
exactly.
This is as heavy as I go. So.
That's fun, though, and it just kind of further moves you along to reaching the goal that you wanted to.
Took a
You
while,
know,
yeah.
and you've had, several albums to date.
Yep.
How many have you had to date so far?
6. Layers of Time is my 6th record. The first record I did was called Twisted Metal back in 2003, and then I just kept doing albums. People wanted to hear more stuff. I went, oh, okay.
Now, have they always been instrumental?
Yeah.
Okay, very cool.
All my albums are instrumental.
Very cool. And Layers of Time came out last year.
Yeah,
and,
December 14th. Yep.
And it's a great album.
Thank you.
I've been listening to the tracks since you sent it to me, and it's very good. And I became just recently introduced to your music, so
Yes,
this is all new to me as well. So it's fantastic. Now you also do. What do you think is like the most fun about being a musician? Is it the exhilaration of getting on stage and having the crowd feed off of you and you feed off the crowd? What do you consider to be the most fun?
When I'm in bed. When I'm asleep. Being on stage, nothing tops being on stage. That's,
right.
A bad day on stage is better than a good day at work. And there's something about, even when I was 14, 15, and I would jam with friends on stage in high school, I love the feeling of standing in front of a loud amp and just playing and having people come up to me going, wow, that was pretty cool. That just worked for me. And even at my age, I still feel like, there's going to be a day where I'm tired of this and I'm just going to want to walk away from it, and just, take care of alpacas somewhere. But I still do it. I still play. I still get out there, and as long as there's electricity and I can plug my amp in, I'm going to keep playing. So.
Right, it's your passion.
Yeah.
And it has been for a very long time. It's now. Have you ever played anywhere like outside the U.S. or what's your favorite place to play within the U.S.?
Well, to answer the first question, I played in Germany.
Did you?
Yes,
Awesome.
in 2014 in September, I got to play with two dream musicians, I like to call them. T.M. Stevens, who's a bass player, he played with Steve Vai, and Joe Cocker and James Brown, and he's on the song Living in America.
Wow.
That's him on bass and vocals. And T.C. Tolliver, who played with Plasmatics. And, T.C. actually played in my band briefly when I needed a drummer. And then T.M. called me and said, I need a guitar player. We did some shows in the Jersey area, Long Branch. And then, two summers ago, I was in the middle of moving, my family and I'm dripping in sweat, lugging boxes. The phone rings. Steve, it's T.M. Going to Germany. You want to come? Yeah. Hung up the phone. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to Germany. Holy smokes. I'm lifting like heavy boxes and couches, and I'm like, I'm going to Germany in 2 months. And that for me was the thrill of a lifetime. I got to play festivals.
Oh, wow.
And I was surprised how many people knew who I was. I went over there thinking I'm going to be invisible. When you're playing with guys like TM and TC, you blend with the furniture. And I got there, and they're like, you're Steve Bello. We see you on Facebook. We buy your album. I'm like, okay, nice, thanks. This is weird, And what I noticed over there especially was they really pay attention to what you're doing on your instrument.
Do they? Yeah.
And the first show I did with those guys over there, this guy came up to me with his German accent. He had a napkin. He goes, what is that scale you played in the third song? Was that harmonic minor? I went, actually
Wow.
it was. And he goes, can you write that down?
Oh my gosh.
I said, yeah, sure. And I wrote down harmonic minor. These are the notes I played. And he goes, now I want an autograph. I'm like, I've never done this in my life. Oh my God. Giving autographs.
That's wild.
But I felt like saying, okay, charge me $50 because that's what this is my lesson. I'm teaching you a lick I played. But over there, they really intensely study musicians.
Wow.
They'll ask me, what kind of strings are those? What kind of, amp is that you're using? And they love my boots. I had Doc Martin silver boots. And,
Okay.
they love my boots. And I met so many great
Doc
people
Martens
over
are
there.
cool.
Yeah, I met so many great people over there. And when I came home, I'm like, I want to go back.
That's what I've heard. People that have played Germany love it over there. And
Yeah.
Europe just loves
Oh my God,
metal
yeah.
in general. The
know.
festivals they have over there are incredible. That's wild, though.
Well, they live for metal. They live for... the hotel that I stayed at in Mark Newkirch, and the whole hotel was music themed. The chairs were actually made of acoustic guitars.
Really?
The back of the chair was the acoustic guitar. They had violins on the ceiling, and they had music notes all over the place. When you walked in the lobby, there was a stand-up bass they carved out and hollowed out and put glasses in it, but it was still playable.
That is so cool.
And they had saxophones on the wall, and I'm like, God, this is incredible. You know, I'm sitting having breakfast with these guys, and there's music all over the place. And I'll tell you, over there, they love Queen. They love Van Halen. You know, of course, they played Lady Gaga and more current stuff. And over there, they're just like, you a musician playing a band? Where are you playing? I'm like, I'm playing at the music hall at the Warwick Factory tonight. Oh, if you're coming down to see you, and they show up, I'm like, holy smokes, I want to stay here. You know?
Wow, that is so cool. A music-based hotel.
That
must have been awe-inspiring.
It was awesome.
Now, were the individual rooms all musiced out as well, or?
My room was pink.
It was pink.
Nothing
okay.
against pink, but my bed sheets had flowers on them, and there were 2 magazines in German. I obviously couldn't understand them, but it was fun. And I can die knowing that I saw SpongeBob in German. SpongeBob Schwammkopf. That's what it's called over there. And what's sad is I actually knew what they were saying because I watched SpongeBob here in America.
That's
I'm like,
so
I know
funny.
what he's saying there, but it's in German.
That's so funny.
Oh my God, you know. But yeah, that was a thrill of a lifetime. But as far as shows here, I've always loved playing, you know, Mexicali and Teaneck. I've opened for Joe and Turner and George Lynch a couple of times.
Nice.
And, you know, playing Starland Ballroom. I hadn't played there in 4 years. I'm opening for Lita Ford this Thursday, August 11th. That means you got to buy tickets for it. And,
yes. This Thursday at
Yes.
Starland. That's a great venue. I love
love it
Starland.
there.
I've only been there one time, and I loved it there. It was nice, big, roomy.
Yes.
A lot of places to sit. A lot of different bars.
Oh yeah.
You know, set up, not just one central bar. Just a very cool venue.
Yeah, but I like I've played smaller rooms. I love the bigger rooms, obviously, because I want to feel like I'm a pompous guitar god. But I like the smaller rooms because they're a little more intimate, and there's a hominess to them, I guess is the best way I could put it.
Right.
You know, where, you know, it takes me back to playing in college. You know, you play the smaller rooms, and it's, you know, I just love playing. But I also love when there's people in the room and they clap. So, you know, It's got to go both ways. If I play an empty room, it's like, it's free rehearsal.
Right.
You know, I better get a chicken dinner out of it, you know, so.
Yeah, you got to hear the clapping. You got to, you know, absolutely. That's pretty cool. And now you do have, of course, we were mentioning your gig coming up this Thursday at Starland, opening up for Lita Ford.
Yes.
Which is very cool. And you're also playing Hollowfest
this
year in October.
That's going to be insane. I'm going to be the lightest metal band on the bill. I'm going to sound like Air Supply next to everybody else. I get to play with these great bands, Psycho Prism. I don't know if you played their stuff on your show. Psycho Prism.
Oh, yeah.
Great band.
I've known them for a couple of years. They're a great bunch of guys.
Yeah, Bill's a great guy, fantastic guitar player.
Oh, my gosh.
Jesse's an amazing singer, and we played with them, you know, my band with them, with Lynch Mob, and it was an amazing show. And, you know, reached out to Hollowfest, and they were like, we'd love to have you on the bill. And, you know, Power Theory's going to be on the bill, and Axemaster, and Demon Boy, and like
Enchanter.
All these bands. And I'm looking at the bill going, I'm the only band where my name is the band name. I don't have a really cool band name, you know, like Gods of Death, you know. It's like Psycho Prism, Power Theory, Steve Bello, you know. Hey, what kind of music are you? I play Zydeco, funky death with a touch of Kion, Louisiana blues. It's pretty cool, you know.
That's a pretty wild mixture there, Steve.
I have a washboard, you know, I bring for special occasions. So.
No, it's going to be a blast.
It's going to be amazing. It's going to be great.
You know, I emceed the show last year, and it was a blast. And Steve has asked me to MC it again this year, so I might be seeing you there.
Nice.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun. You know, a lot of the same bands that were there last year are on the bill again this year with some new ones, which is very, very cool. It's really a nice 2-day event that they put together. It'll be exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now,
awesome. It'll be, I think it's October 21st and 22nd.
Yeah, I'm playing on that Friday, the 21st.
You're playing on the Friday?
Yeah. I might stick around on the Saturday to sell merch and just watch the other bands. I want to see
Sure,
them go.
yeah.
But with kids and stuff like that, it's if I have stuff going on with them, I got to be there for them. Of course,
okay, you're a family man. Okay, how many
Yes.
how many kids do you have?
I have 3, one of each.
3. Oh wow,
And,
one of each. Wait, wait, back up.
Yeah, I have 2 boys. They're all. I have 3 teenagers. I have
Wow.
2 boys, 19 and 15, and my daughter 17, going on 40. And, she's discovered driving and independence. So, all right, see you later then. All right. So.
Oh, yep,
And
absolutely.
if she was here, she'd play with your cat all day. So.
Now, are any of them into music as well?
My daughter played bass. She put it away just for a little while, but she's going to be taking up singing, I think, in the chorus in senior year of high school this year. She's learning keyboards a little bit. She's going to be taking AP Music Theory in high school and digital recording.
Very
And,
cool.
My younger son, he's going to be playing clarinet in the marching band, which I'm going to be roadieing for, which I love doing. My oldest son, he loves music, wants nothing to do with playing, which I'm fine with. And he wants to be a science teacher. He's going to college for that, which I
Okay.
think is fantastic. And, something
Sure,
my wife and I said from day one, before we started our family, we just said we're not going to get in the way of our kids. We want them to feel like they can talk to us about anything.
Sure.
And never feel like, well, my wife is a graphic artist. Now she's a teacher. She's a substitute teacher in a couple of schools. And I got the music thing. We never wanted our kids to think, well, we better do what our parents are doing,
Right.
but we don't live through our kids either, so.
Right. You want them to be free to
Yeah.
to find out what works for them and what their
Exactly.
passion is.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
So with my oldest son, he said, I want to be a science teacher. That's great. Do it, please. Do it.
Yeah, that's
Great.
very cool.
Have fun,
And as long as he's a fan of music, it's funny. I've met only 2 people in my life that said they didn't like music at all. And I just looked at them dumbfounded, like, how can you not like
I don't know.
music of any kind?
Well,
Like, it just really bewildered me.
I wish I knew. I mean,
Because with a day without music is a day wasted, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that, and guys, that brings me to, I want to play something off of your new album.
Wow,
so
what a
everybody out
coincidence.
there can listen and get a taste. Now, we did play, of course, before we went live, Steve. We played Nuclear Paradise off
Yes.
of Layers of Time. But now we're going to play for everybody the title track off the album, Layers of Time. And you want to go into, just kind of go into how you came up with the title of the album, as well as what the song is trying to bring forth emotionally.
well, the title actually came from 2 very interesting sources. You probably won't believe me, but my wife and my father-in-law, they were watching Nicole Curtis, Rehab Addict, where she flips houses and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I was reading the paper. I was reading the New York Times because I try to look educated. And she was talking about there's all these years of paint on the wall. She said it's like layers of time. And I went, wow, that sounded so cool. That sounded like a very prog sounding title. So I wrote that down.
Right.
And then as I was reading the New York Times, there was an article about layers of time.
Really?
Talking about books,
Okay.
through the layers of time. And I went, this is really weird. Like, I have to write a song called Layers of Time. I actually wrote very different music from what you're about to hear. When I sent all the tracks to Rosario Panzarella, who produced this record, and he's also the CEO of Von York Strings, which I endorse, the file for the original version of this song got lost, and I'm just like, man, I worked hard on that tune, and it's just not meant to be. And I got home, and the clean intro you're going to hear was the first thing I wrote. And I said, okay, where am I going to build from here? And then you're going to hear the heavy riff come in. And then the song grew a pair of legs and took on a life of its own. I wrote the song in literally probably the length of time that the song is, about 6.5 minutes.
Wow.
I sent the file to Rosario. I said, this is the title track. This is the name of the album. And he goes, I don't know how you did this. This was incredible. So Layers of Time was actually the first song I recorded, which is now the last song on the album, and I planned it that way. So as far as the emotional aspect, I just wanted something really slow, very Sabbathy, very King's X, but not so doom and gloom that people go, oh God, I can't listen to this. I want my music to be fun to listen to. And,
Right.
I think the melody in this song is a lot of fun because I pulled it from like an Arabic melody. So
Oh, cool.
I want the listeners to hear it and judge for themselves, as I don't want to put words in their mouth. So just play the song.
That's
I guess.
fantastic, though. I mean, the creativity just flowed right out of you.
Yes.
You know, and to have, you know, I don't believe in coincidences. So you reading what you were reading in the New York Times and what your wife was pointing out about the paint on the walls, it was just meant to be and to hit you and be like, bingo, light bulb in the head, and then you have Layers of Time. So what we're going to do right now, everybody, is we are going to go ahead and play the title track, Layers of Time, for you guys, and then we'll be back, and we are live with Steve Bello hanging out on Metal Euphoria, only on SonicAsylumRadio.com. right, you are tuned into Sonic Asylum Radio. This is Metal Euphoria, and I'm your host, Metal Maiden Vicky, and we are here live today in studio with Steve Bello, and the song that you just heard was the title track off of his latest release called Layers of Time. An amazing track, Steve. Very, very cool. And you wrote that, did it in 6 minutes. Like, it pretty much, you said the length of the song is how long it took you to get that music out.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm inspired, I just go.
The creativity just flows.
I just go.
You know, and I think that's how it is with most creative souls. You know, once it hits your head, you have to either write it down right then and there, you're going to lose it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I write poetry, and if I don't, I lose it.
Yeah.
And you may not get it back the way you had it before. And like you said, the first time around, you wrote it, and it got lost, and you kind of had to redo it. And it was incredible.
This one was a way better version, which worked to my advantage, you know. So I took something that was kind of negative, and I went, all right, I'll just start over. And I'm like, well, this is way better. So
there you go. You know, you got to take negatives and make them positives, and that's exactly what you did with Layers of Time. Absolutely. You know, I hope everybody out there listening's digging it, and we still have a bunch of people hanging out in the chat room. They were talking about the alpacas.
Oh God, that's my. No matter what I do in life, alpacas will be it.
You want to end up with alpacas?
It just hit me for some reason. I'm weird like that.
Now, do you have any other pets?
I just have 2 cats.
2 cats? Oh,
yeah,
cool.
I have 2 cats, and that's it.
What are their names?
I have my black cat named Linus and a calico named Lucy.
Oh, awesome, awesome. Yeah, and you got to meet one of my cats, Amber. Yeah, you know, I was telling you I lost one of mine a month ago.
Yeah.
But you know, she's kind of shy.
That's okay.
She'll be around. You know, she's got to get used to you, a new voice.
That's all good.
So yeah, she's kind of like my co-host sometimes. So that's cool. You know that you grew. Did you always grow up with pets in your family?
When I was 7, my aunt and I are 9 years apart. I remember my aunt came home. This was in '77. I have a weird memory like this. She came home with a little gray kitten, and that's how I fell in love with cats.
Oh, okay.
You know, because up until that point, my neighbors had dogs, and of course, I hung around dogs, and dogs are cool.
Yeah.
When my aunt came home with this little kitten, I went, okay, I'm done. Just stick a fork in me. I love cats, and I've been a cat fan ever since. And I've always loved animals, you know. And, you know, that's just me. I love animals.
Me too. We've always grown up with pets. You know, I had a dog growing up, and then cats throughout the years, pretty much. You know, I never had any offshoot pets like goldfish or
I had fish.
You know, hamsters or anything like that. I never had anything.
I had hermit crabs.
You know, hermit crabs.
I had a couple of hermit crabs, and those were interesting. You know.
Well, we have turtles too. Mm-hmm. Actually, and one of them is 50. Oh boy, over 50 years old.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So you know, it was my sister had wanted those little tiny turtles that you see in the pet store. Little did my mom know that she'd still have it 50 years later, living in the downstairs bathtub. You know, Hansel and Gretel. We lost Gretel years ago.
Oh my God!
But yeah, so if you're out there and if you want to buy a little turtle, be prepared
get
have
the ARP card. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, going back to when you perform live, do you have any pre-show rituals that you like to do before you go out on stage?
I try to avoid people as much as possible.
Okay.
No. I just see. I get off on raw nerves. I get off on the electricity and the energy. And you know, I mean, I'm not going to get on a soapbox, but I know people that need a glass of wine to calm their nerves down. If that's them, that's cool.
Right.
For me, you know, you can ask anybody. I'm a nutcase before a show. I'm on pins and needles. It's like, don't touch me, don't look at me, I'm sterile. You know, just, you know, and when I'm on stage, I'm fine. I walk off stage and I'm just like, what just happened? Did I just play? It's just like, I felt like I was up there 10 minutes.
It's all like a blur, right?
You know, and
it goes fast.
Yeah, as far as pre-show rituals, I mean, I try to have a light dinner. You know, I chat with friends. I just try to cool out and get the vibes. You know.
Okay, but you do tend to get a little nervous.
We all do. I mean,
you know?
We're human.
Exactly.
We have heartbeats unless we were robots. You know, and I mean, I don't shake violently, and you have to carry me out on a stretcher. Right. You know, you know. But yeah, I mean, seconds before I hit the stage, all of a sudden everybody wants to talk to me. Hey, Steve, what'd you have for dinner? I'm like, don't talk to me.
Right, I'm getting in my groove.
Steve, I just want to get your... No, you don't understand. I'm about to go on stage. I know, but still, I have to ask you something. Can it wait? You saw me for 3 hours. Now you have to ask me a question. It's like... But yeah, like I said, I just try to eat light, and I try to get my energy level up, and just try to play a good show.
Exactly. Now, is that any advice you would give to like beginners that that are a little stage fright, or they want to get out and they want to do their thing, but they just can't bring themselves? Kind of like the Jim Morrison, where he couldn't even face the audience for the longest time. He would go out and not face anybody. Is there any advice you could give to the younger players to kind of get over that?
Honestly, it's up to the individual. I mean, if somebody came up to me and said, I can't get out there, I can't get up on stage, what should I do? And I would tell them something I learned in college in speech class. You're in front of a group of people, find one person talk to that person, and then make your eyes dart around the room a little bit, but go back to that person. Like, get the feel for the room, and then before you know it, you'll be okay. But it varies from person to person. I mean, I was in a band years ago with a singer that, in front of 10 people, he was literally coughing up blood. He was so nervous.
Wow.
He was straining to sing because he was so nervous. And
oh my gosh.
I see him behind the bass player's amp. I said, what's he doing?
And he was a vocalist?
He was a singer, and he was coughing up blood. He was so nervous. He was straining. And I'm like, you never sang in front of people? He goes, nope, first time. I'm like, now you tell me?
Wow.
Now you tell me? Well, I sang in front of my cousin once. I'm like, no.
That's not the same. That's like singing in the shower. You know,
for him, 15 people was a lot. For me, 15 people was, please.
Wow.
I've played in front of 800 people. This is, but it varies. Some people can't do it. I think it's Barbra Streisand and Carly Simon or Carole King. I always forget which one it was. They can't do it.
Really?
They get cold feet big time, and some people are just not meant for the stage. It's sad,
Maybe Carole King, because she was more of a writer.
Yeah, probably Carole King, but...
Yeah, because I can't see Barbara getting nervous walking out on stage.
Well, I've heard the stories where she had massive stage fright, but who knows?
Wow.
I mean...
But that's crazy, and is that something that, the kids ask you when, you mentioned before that you are also a teacher, and you teach music and guitar, as well as bass. Do they ever ask you things like that, or, what your advice on how to, get started, get together a band or just kind of get your name out there, especially with social media? It's so much easier these days for people to get their name out there.
Social media, could be a help and a hindrance, but that's just purely my opinion. When I have young people ask me, hey, I want to start my first band, I want to learn how to write a song, what do I do? And really what I tell them is you go for your heart, go for what you know. You're going to probably go through a million bands like I did.
Right.
Or you might land upon the first band as the right band, and that's the band that's going to carry you all through life. That's very rare. But I always tell my students, whatever you do it because you mean it, not because, I think I have to do this. It's kind of cool. It's put your whole self into it.
Right.
You're going to get hurt. You're going to get burned. But you got to keep pounding it out.
Exactly. You got to be willing to face rejection.
Yes.
And trial and error. And as long as it's passionate within you,
yeah,
then it'll all work out one way or the other. And I truly believe that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not a musician, but you have to have that passion and not say, I want to get into it so I can get, chicks and whatever. Because that's only going to last for so long.
Yeah.
And it's not going to bring you through the endurance part of being a musician, I think. And when you get out on stage, you truly love what you're doing. And it comes out, and the crowd feeds off of that,
yeah,
which is fantastic. And, in addition to being endorsed by Ibanez, as you were saying earlier, you also are endorsed by other companies in the
yeah,
way of strings and a certain cable.
Yes,
You want to go into a little bit about that?
Yeah. As far as strings, I've been with Von York Strings for over a year. I signed a deal with them last May. And great company, great people, Rosario and his wife Donna, and their two boys and their cat, Klaus. And Rosario's always been behind me since day one. He's seen me play a couple of times, and he's like, "I want to do your album," and he produced Layers of Time. You know, as far as the cable, Spectraflex is the cable company I've been with for a couple of years now, and Dave Russell, who's the owner, CEO, he sent me an email one day. He says, "Don't tell anybody, but I'm starting an artist program, and since you've been very loyal to us and you've been recommending people to play our cables, we want to take care of you. How does a signature cable sound?" And I thought about it. I went, my name on something. Yeah, I like that. It's something I believe in. And he said, well, we're going to design the cable as far as the circuitry. You're going to design the cable as far as the colors and the design. And he wrote in parentheses, I have a feeling I know what colors you're going to pick. I wanted pink and green like my sneakers, but they couldn't get the green the way I liked it, so I got pink and yellow. And since it's based on a series called Fatso Flex, I figured call it Bello Flex. And he said, that's the corniest name I've ever heard, but we got to use it. So it's the Bello Flex cable. It's been out for a couple of weeks now, and I love it. I absolutely love it. It's a great sounding cable. And I did a little video for it. My friend Rob from Digimortal Photo, he did 2 videos for that and the other piece I'm going to talk about. And, I have a lot of people inquiring about the cable. They're just like, hey, where can I get it? So you can get it through spectraflex.com. Click on the artist series and you'll see my shining face and my shining cable. And it comes in various lengths and different ends if you want straight end or a right angle. Different strokes for different folks, and whoever gets it, I really hope you enjoy it as much as I do.
Very cool.
Plus, it's funky looking.
Yeah. That's very cool. Yeah, I definitely encourage everybody out there listening that is a guitar player to go visit the site and check it out. Or you can visit us, your Facebook page as well, Steve Bello Music on Facebook. And you also have a website as well.
Yeah, SteveBelloRocks.com.
And people can look up the gear on there as well.
Yeah, I got my rambling blogs and photos and videos and audio and tour dates and, fun stuff.
Oh, do you? You write blogs. What do you normally write blogs on? Or just whatever?
Well, rehearsals.
Creative writing?
Yeah, whatever rehearsals, shows. People could read them, and I've had a couple of people write me and say, man, you're a good writer, or God, you write a lot. So I'm just one of those guys that I just go. When the muse hits me, I just go. And I guess I'm a man of many words. It's the best way I could describe myself, But if I may, I want to talk about the pedal.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a company in Mississippi called Checkered Pedals, and the guy Rick reached out to me. Hey, I love your music. I want you to endorse my brand. And I said, well, I have this crazy idea for a pedal because I want to hear it, as long as it's not a distortion pedal, because it's all I get asked for. I said, well, I originally wanted a combination flanger phaser pedal. And he goes, oh man, I'd be so into this. And he couldn't get the flanger to work for some reason. It's not his fault. It just couldn't happen. He said, how about a chorus phaser? I said, well, this is what I hear for a chorus, and this is what I hear for a phaser. And he says, well, name the pedal. This is going to be your signature pedal. I'm like, I got a signature cable. Now I'm going to have a signature pedal. So I'm thinking, well, it's a blend of the 70s and the 80s. So why not Nuclear Paradise, which happens to be one of my songs. And it just fit. And I'm very proud to say that Rick told me that somebody near him ordered one.
Awesome.
He saw the demo video and said, I've got to have that. And that was it. And now I'm allowed to mention this. He's making a second signature pedal for me, but I can't go into detail what it is. It's going to be very different, and it's going to have another song title for the name of it, but that's all I could say. And good things.
Yeah, absolutely. That's pretty exciting, to see your name on a product.
Oh, yes.
That you believe in and that you use and encourage other people to use it as well. That's pretty cool, Steve. That's pretty exciting. In addition to having Layers of Time released, and you said you already have songs in your head for a new album already. And
yeah, I have 9 songs already. There's the guys that are in my band now, Jimmy Donegan, bass player, and Tommy Irwin, the drummer. The 3 of us play together in a cover band called Mary's Basement. And when my album came out, and then got in the show opener for Joe and Turner, I'm like, I need a band. Oh my God. And I asked these guys, I said, can you guys help me for a gig? Yeah, sure. And they loved us so much. They're like, we want to do more shows with you. And that was it. And then out of nowhere, I said, I'm going to start showing these guys some ideas I have. And they took to it like a fish to water. They just said, keep the songs coming. And next thing I know, I'm like, I got song after song. And I'm like, oh my God, I've got 9 songs. Not all of them are done. But I could safely say I could start, I could say I have 9 songs. Pretty much together,
That's pretty amazing. And now the song that we first played, Nuclear Paradise, kind of go into the meaning behind the title of that song.
Well, again, I was watching something on television. What's that show? Face Off. Face Off. Yeah, where you build masks. It's on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh, I never saw it.
It's cool. It's cool, and my daughter loves it because she's into art, like my wife is, and there was an episode where they had to create a 5-minute movie, and I was sitting there. I was actually writing the music that became this song because I had this riff in my head, and one of the girls, I had my head down, I'm writing the song, and one of the girls on the television said, well, I was going to name my movie Nuclear Paradise, but I'm going with something else. And I went, Nuclear Paradise? Oh, that's so 80s. Oh, my God. And I wrote Nuclear Paradise. And I went, this fits the music. Because this music, just like the pedal, is a blend of 70s and 80s. To me, it's like a mix of like Zeppelin Aerosmith meets, like Satriani-ish kind of stuff, I think.
Right.
I don't ever want to totally describe what I do. I want people to describe it for me. And I've heard some pretty interesting comparisons. Let me leave it at that. And,
oh, yeah?
I kind of question where people get their ideas from. But, hey, if they're listening, that's all I care about.
And you basically describe your music as like instrumental, prog, metal, funk.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool, because that gives somebody right away an idea of what they're about to listen to.
And then they ask, why is there no singer? Because it's instrumental.
Right, because it's instrumental, and that's just how you want your music to be, and that's great. There's nothing wrong with it, it's strictly instrumentals in my book, Absolutely. Now, do you have, besides, you're a musician, you're endorsed by these companies, you teach music as well. Do you have any other hobbies outside of music?
Sleeping.
Yes,
I'm a professional sleeper, professional mattress tester. Other hobbies, actually, astrology.
Oh wow, okay.
Astrology. My mother studies astrology, and I've tinkered with it, but now I don't let it rule my life, but it's cool because it makes me think about what makes my life tick, and then it makes me see how other people tick, if you will.
Right.
Astronomy. I've always loved astronomy, and my son, my oldest son, actually told me how he got into science. He saw one of my astronomy books.
Ah, okay.
And he saw the planets, and he's like, and it was very heartwarming. And then soon after, he says, "We're going for pizza, right?" I'm like, "Okay, we're going for pizza." He suckered me into it, and so astrology, numerology is something else I've been studying. I've always been fascinated with numbers.
That's fascinated, yeah. Absolutely, everything is based on numbers and numerology.
Again, I don't let it rule my life, but it's very intriguing to me, and I think it ties in with my music. As far as why do I write the way I write? Why does my music sound the way it does? And at the risk of sounding really corny and new agey, my 7th album, I want it to be special because it's my 7th album, and the number 7 has always been, important in my life. Same with the number 2. So it's just, I'm sure some of your listeners just left the chat room. Oh, this guy's losing.
No, actually, it's very interesting. I'm all about that kind of
crazy.
Stuff. I am all about that kind of stuff, believe me. As I know a lot of the listeners in here are. And, my dad has just joined the chat room.
Oh, boy.
We were talking off the air how my dad came with me to Hollowfest. And so he's hanging out in the chat room. He's down in Florida. Nice. And yes, Dad, Steve Bello is on tap for this year's Hollowfest. Woo. Yeah, awesome. So I don't think Dad is going to be able to make it to this year's Hollowfest, but you never know. But yeah, and Lori said in the chat room, Face Off is a cool show, so she knows exactly what you're talking about.
People are listening.
Exactly. No, I think astronomy is really interesting.
I love it.
And until I actually had to take it in college, and then I lost it. I had such trouble getting the nitty-gritty. I guess in my college head, I was all about the visuals and all the coolness of it. And once you had to learn the nitty-gritty of it, I was like, this is really hard.
Yeah, my oldest son, he took astronomy first year of college, and his mind was completely blown.
Yeah.
He was just like, there's so much math. I'm like, well, yeah.
Exactly.
It's not just looking at a telescope and going, oh my God, that's Saturn. I mean, I admit I'm not way into it because I know I'll be like, about it. But I've always dug it. I've loved planets. I've always been intrigued by it, and every album I've done, I've always had a planet theme.
Oh, okay.
That's just me. I got that influence from Dio, who I think actually grew up around here.
Portland. He did, Cortland, New York. It's a little bit upstate from here.
I drove through there, and I was just like, where are you?
Exactly.
But I remember something he said years ago, where if he sang about rainbows, it gave him an identity. So I thought if I wrote songs about planets, people would identify with it because it's music without words. Like, yeah, that's the guy that writes about planets.
Right, exactly.
So when I run out of planets, I think I'll write about, the zodiac signs. I'll have to write 12 more albums now. So and then after that, constellations, and then I'll write about other galaxies.
The universe is just full of inspiration.
Yes, I'll have 165 albums by the time.
Have you ever been to a planetarium before?
No, my son has. He went to one, I think it was in Clifton, and there's one at his college, and he went to the one in Clifton, and I think he saw Jupiter. I think it was Jupiter or Saturn, and his mind was totally wide open.
Wow.
When you realize how insignificant you actually are compared to what's out there.
Right.
It's insane. And I was over at my cousin Tony's down the shore recently, and he's got this gigantic telescope, and I said, next time I'm coming down here with my son, you're not going to get us out of the house. And it was just fascinating. It's just absolutely fascinating to me.
Isn't it? We're just a mere speck.
Yes.
In this, just in our Milky Way, let alone what's out beyond the Milky Way,
Well, if I can get people to buy my album in the Milky Way, I'm a happy man.
There you go.
This is weird music.
Well, I want to play some more of your self-proclaimed weird music. Of course. So what we're going to do now is we're going to play a couple more tracks. The first one, Slippery Gypsy, and that is off of Layers of Time. And go into a little bit about the song title meaning on that one. I'm curious.
Oh, boy. I'm probably going to shatter a lot of dreams here, but I got the song title when I was watching a Paul Gilbert instructional video on YouTube.
Okay.
Somebody wrote, he's a slippery gypsy. And I thought, people are going to see this title and go, it's got to be sexual, it's got to be this. No, it's about Paul Gilbert. The song is about Paul Gilbert.
Oh, how funny. That's very cool, though. Paul Gilbert's a great musician.
Musically, it sounds nothing like he would do, like Racer X, Mr. Big kind of stuff.
Right.
But when people hear the song, we played a gig back in April. We went for a Yes tribute band and a Rush tribute band. It was a lot of fun. Long story short, the singer in the Yes tribute band said, "How did you come up with the music for that song? Because it was just really weird." And I said, "Well, I got some influence from King Crimson and some from Motley Crue." And she goes,
"Nice.
Why does that make sense to me?" I said, "Because that's me. Anybody else, it would have sounded like a train wreck, but I learned how to fuse Robert Fripp with Mick Mars, and somehow it worked."
That's very cool.
So for all you hair metal fans out there,
that's
me. For all you prog metal fans out there, why indeed, it's wonderful. So.
Well, actually, Lori out there listening, she is a huge King Crimson fan. She's actually my sister, and she turned me on to that band back before I really knew what rock was really all about. Mm-hmm. I used to hear weird stuff coming out of her room, and one of them was King Crimson. Paul Panic, one of our DJs, is in the chat room, and he says Paul Gilbert is a cool dude, very nice guy.
Good.
Yeah, very cool. All right, and the song I want to play after Slippery Gypsy is Quicker Than the Devil, and that is actually off of
No album.
No album.
No
it's
album.
Just
a
single.
Yeah. And that was done in March of 2015, because I hadn't done any music in a long time, and the guys I had in my band at the time was a different lineup. they said instead of doing a full record, let's just do one song. And I was just like, I want to do a full record, man. But I'm like, let me just get something out there. And it worked. It actually debuted at #1 in England on the metal charts.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic, Steve.
So it's a song that it's been in the set list obviously since March last year, and it's a tune that gets the crowd going.
Excellent, excellent. Oh, and Daddy Doug here said in the chat room, hi Steve, glad to meet you and see you next Hollowfest.
Oh, excellent.
So
man.
maybe he is going. I don't know yet.
That was your dad, right?
Yes, yeah.
See, I make people come up from Florida.
That's
I can't
it.
get people around my block from my house to see me play. Oh my God, I got people from North Carolina going to this show on Thursday. I'm not kidding.
Wow, that's cool.
North Carolina. And I get people around the block. Well, I might be washing my fish that night. I don't know, but Lita Ford's cool though. You might see me there. Okay.
It's like just go. It's a great venue, a great night of music. I mean, Lita Ford, man, she's one of the top metal queens.
Yes,
her and Doro Pesh to me are like undoubtedly the metal queens. For sure. I mean, there's others, but those were the two that everybody had the posters on their walls, and and Lita still looks great to this day. She still sounds great. It's going to be really exciting. Is this the first time you're playing with her?
Yes.
Awesome. Very, very cool. All right, so guys, we are going to play right now Slippery Gypsy, and that's off the latest release, Layers of Time, and then we're going to play Quicker Than the Devil, and that is the single that was released last year with Steve Bello, and then we'll be back live in the studio with Steve, and we're hanging out on Metal Euphoria, only on SonicAsylumRadio.com, the best underground music on the planet, period. right, we are back and we are hanging out live with Steve Bello in the studio today at Metal Euphoria on Sonic Asylum Radio. And the two tracks you just heard was Slippery Gypsy, and that is coming off of his latest release called Layers of Time. And then you heard Quicker Than the Devil, and that was off of a single that he released last year. Great tracks. We're getting a good response in the chat room. Mad Brad said really cool stuff.
Cool.
My dad, Steve, sounded really unique. He loves it.
All right, come to the show now.
Yeah. You know, and my dad, as I was saying to you off the air, he's into a lot of classical, jazz, classic rock. He's always been a fan of opera, but he's really gotten an appreciation for more progressive and metal and more heavier rock and roll since I joined Sonic Asylum. So
Excellent.
He's finally understanding after all these years of what I listen to and why.
Yes.
You know, and that it's not all what people think it is. You know, I think metal is one of the most misunderstood genres that there is.
Yeah.
With the most loyalist fans.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I can't even imagine when you go to a concert or a show, what it's just like to be in the crowd and part of that camaraderie.
Yeah.
You know, it just, there's nothing like it. Paul Panic is asking, where can we buy Steve's stuff?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. Because I'm so cool, I'm going to let you all in on a little secret. If you go on stevebellorocks.com, you can buy the download of my new album, or you can order the hard copy. Now, what's cool is, now brace yourselves, I will personally sign every single hard copy that gets purchased through my website.
Nice.
And you can also order the CD through cdbaby.com, iTunes, Rhapsody, Amazon, Spotify. You know, however you can get the music, just get it. I do sell CDs at my shows, and it's been getting great reviews. It's getting a great response. You know, I'm thrilled that I can write such really weird music and people dig it. So it's a great feeling.
Absolutely. You know, and like we were mentioning at the beginning of the interview.
Oh, look, there's my website.
Yeah, there it is.
Hey, he's rather handsome.
The magic of the internet, isn't it? Fantastic.
Dude.
Yes, we gotta love it. And I'm gonna put the link right there in the chat room for everybody.
Nice.
I got your Facebook page up there, as well as your official website.
Nice.
So definitely, go out and buy. You know, as you said, this was your sixth album.
Sixth album, yes.
To date. So I got to start filling up my library.
Well, yes, you do.
I think I have to do that now. You know, because I'm really digging Layers of Time.
Thank you.
It's so good, and it's so just. Yeah, you're shredding it. Like Lori said in the chat room, would it be appropriate to use the term shredding it here?
The worm?
The worm, yes. Sometimes, you know.
As the worm turns. Well, shred, I don't mind the term, but it does get a bad rap because, just like the word metal, some people, they kind of have a snarkiness when they say, what is it, metal? You know, no one ever goes, what is it, classical? You know? Do you play that jazz? You know, that blues? You know, it just, for some reason, the word metal just gets people to talk funny. And the word shred, whenever somebody says, are you a shred player? In my ears, what they're basically asking you is, you don't know how to write a song. You know, do you play with any feel? Do you play with any soul? You know, like B.B. King, nothing against B.B. King, but, you know, he says more with one note, and I'm just like, you know what, B.B. King was great for what he did, but that's not me. You know, my influences were obviously Hendrix, Blackmore, Yngwie, Steve Vai, Vernon Reid, like a whole mishmash of influences. You know, then there's jazz players like Al Di Meola, John McLaughlin, you know, and all those cats. I try to mix it up. And then there are the guys that aren't even anywhere near lead players that write great songs, like Andy Summers. The Police, you know,
right.
I love his guitar sound. I love his chords. You know, Jamie West-Thorne from The Fix, great solid player. You know, there's no shred, there's no 64th note chops. It's like he's got good songs, and
right.
that's what it boils down to. Is so, you know, I do appreciate when somebody says, "Are you a shred player?" I'd like to think I'm more than that, but if it gets my foot in the door, fine.
Right, and I think
you know?
the meaning behind that is like, wow, you're really damn good on the guitar. You know, that you're just up there and you're, you know, playing the music with your heart and your soul. Absolutely. And a comment in the chat room, jazz is not dead, it just smells funny.
Frank Zappa, yeah.
Yeah, that's Frank Zappa. See, that's another big favorite in the chat room out here is Frank Zappa.
Well, the joke about jazz is the band has more fun than the audience, so.
I can definitely see that. I've never been a big jazz person.
I like some of it.
But growing up, I listened to quite a bit of it here and there from, my dad and stuff. Mm-hmm. But just metal's always been my thing.
Yeah.
I think going way back when I first saw Black Sabbath on Don Kirshner's rock concert.
Oh, my God.
I didn't know what I was watching. And I was just sitting there like, what is this? I have to find out all about it.
Oh, smokes.
Yeah, and back then, it was a video, but they called them promotional videos. They weren't really videos. And it was Paranoid.
Yeah.
And I was just blown away. And before that, I was a 70s AM radio kid, I listened to all the popular stuff.
Course,
and I was, all the teen idols on my wall. But once I heard Sabbath and Priest, I heard Priest through a telephone of an ex-boyfriend. And I was like, what are you listening to? Oh, Priest, you got to go out, go see them at the Palladium.
Yeah.
I went out and saw Priest and Maiden at the Palladium, and everything changed from that point on.
Yeah, there's something about metal that I think you have to be, I don't know if it's the right frame of mind or just right place, right time, but you can listen to, when I grew up, I was listening to hard rock, Zeppelin, Aerosmith, that kind of stuff. Nothing too intense.
Right.
Well, then again, for a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, that was pretty heavy-duty stuff.
Yeah, no doubt.
But, I was listening to Queen, Rush, of course. But when I first heard Judas Priest, I was 12, and I saw the video for Hot Rockin'.
Okay.
And, up until that point, they were playing videos by Asia, REO Speedwagon, and when you're new to MTV, you're like, you love every band you see because it's such a new thing.
Right. MTV ruled back then.
I think Styx sold more records than they ever did because of MTV and REO Speedwagon and Journey and
Def Leppard
and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
But I'm hearing this music, and then I hear these vocals, and I didn't quite get why they were in a sauna, But my father explained to me, he's like, sit down, I have to tell you why that is. But even my dad was sitting with me, and he goes, who's this band you're listening to? I said, this is band Judas Priest. I thought they were a new band. I didn't know there was a history. I thought they were a brand new band.
Right.
And I'm looking at the video, and they've got leather jackets and long hair and Marshall stacks, and I'm like, I've got to dress like that. I got to have a Marshall stack. That's me.
Right.
I saw that. I saw early Iron Maiden footage when they played the Lyceum, I think it was, with Paul Di'Anno.
Right.
And the song Iron Maiden and Wrathchild and
amazing stuff.
Steve Harris was my god because he had the hair.
Yes.
And he had the striped pants.
You have hair similar to Steve Harris.
I get that.
You do.
Geddy Lee, I look like Cliff Burton,
Okay, yeah, I can see that. A mixture of all three of those, yeah.
All bass players, ironically.
Yeah.
But I'm watching Maiden, and then I saw Scorpions, I saw No One Like You, and I'm like, this music is just speaking to me.
Right.
And my friends in middle school were just like, oh my God, it's just too hard, and don't you like Duran Duran, and, all that stuff. And I'm like, this music is just grabbing me.
And that's cool music, too. I dug all that stuff.
I didn't mind it at all.
But metal just
snares you.
Grabs you, man.
But it's the kind of music where you either totally fall in love with it or you kind of go, oof.
Right.
There's no gray area. You don't go, yeah, well, it's all right. Metal for me was just, I love other styles, but metal just did it for me. Like, I love the imagery. Looking back, it was goofy, but back then, seeing Slayer and Venom, like, oh my God, they're Satanists, dude, they're scary as hell, right. But I'm attracted to it. Pentagrams and upside down crosses.
Right.
But this music, my God, and that's what did it for me. It just got me.
And 80s videos were so cheesy, a lot of them. But they're so good, and that's what made them so... when Motley Crue first came out, they were kind of scary at first when Shout at the Devil came out.
I love that record.
And people were like, wow, look at these guys,
Nikki Sixx lit his pants on fire. I'm like, dude, I want to try that. Oh, actually, no, I don't. But,
no, you don't want to try that.
No,
do not do this at home, people.
I like my legs.
But yeah, it's really... And throughout the years, I mean, you see still, people around our age still going to see all the shows. The bands are still coming out with brand new music.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. Who would have thought back in 1985 that we'd be listening to brand new Raven and Saxon and Armored Saint and, we would have thought you were crazy.
Yeah.
New Judas Priest in 2014. Yeah, right,
Exactly.
And they're working on another album that'll come out next year with Richie Faulkner. So, it's just, it will never go away.
People try to make it go away.
They do.
It goes underground and then it comes back bigger than ever and then it goes away again. It's just, like you said, it's a misunderstood style of music. I think because it's such an abrasive sound.
Right.
There's all these notes clashing and all these, because I'm neurotic, I like picking things apart. It's the sound of the distortion. It's the way the notes blend or don't blend. When you're used to hearing, like pop music, for example, it's got a specific beat and it's got a specific sound, and this, whether or not you're a musician, they choose certain notes for a reason because they're easier to follow. When you hear Black Sabbath the first time, the first song, Black Sabbath, you're hearing the root note and then the flat five, which is the Devil's Tritone. It's like
the Devil's Tritone.
It's the truth. It's called Diabolus in Musica, and you hear that the first time, you're like, oh my God, this is the ugliest thing I've ever heard. And then you either say, but I love it, or get me away from this. It's just, oh my God, I got to wash my ears out. Oh, I need holy water. I heard Black Sabbath the first time. I'm like, give me more.
Right, exactly.
Give me more of this.
Exactly.
And it was just the sound of the notes, how they worked, and the heaviness, and just the sound overall. It was, it was almost like studying physics. Like, what makes this work?
Right.
Why is this blending so well for me, yet for a friend of mine,
Right. And in Black Sabbath, I'm one of those people that believe that Sabbath did pretty much start heavy metal.
They invented
if
heavy
it wasn't
metal,
for Tony losing part of his finger in that factory, we never would have had that heavier, deeper sound, because he's never really used picks. And it just created this whole new sound that nobody had ever heard before.
Hendrix had the fuzz sound, which was hard.
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
You had bands that were playing a hard fuzz.
Right.
But Sabbath, it was like they took the sound and refined it, almost like they found that missing mid-range and went, okay, that's the sound of metal. And then Priest, I always said Priest took it to the next level, and Metallica with Fight Fire with Fire. It was just like metal. Metal's one of those forms of music that just evolves and evolves and evolves. And just when you think it can't get any heavier and it can't get any faster, there's somebody that comes along.
That's right.
But soon it'll be sine waves. And you're like, okay, that was really heavy, so.
Right, exactly. No, that's so true. And you just have been rolling along through it all these years.
Yes.
Since you were 9, you said earlier, when you first started your musical journey, so to speak. And you've shared the stage with so many great people. You've mentioned Joe Lynn Turner and George Lynch, which is fantastic. George Lynch is an amazing musician. And now you're going to be sharing the stage with Lita Ford, and that's, again, next Thursday,
Actually,
the 11th.
This Thursday,
this Thursday, the 11th, at Starland Ballroom in Sayreville, New Jersey, or as we sometimes call it, Slayerville.
That's where Bon Jovi's from, man. Don't
right.
Don't be making fun of Sayreville.
That's right. No, it's Slayerville. But and that's a great venue. It's going to be a great time. And Paul Paddock said that he just purchased Layers of Time from your website. Can't wait to get it.
Yes, I have to put his son through college. Please buy the album.
Yeah, and Geronimo listening out in North Carolina today. Usually he's here in Westchester. He's visiting family. He just went. He messaged me. Great tunes. Downloading them now.
Oh, sweet.
So we're getting a lot of good response because
Excellent.
You know why, Steve? Because it kicks ass.
I thought it was my hair. All right.
Well, your hair is pretty damn cool. So, I have to say, being a metal, maiden that I am, I dig the long hair. So yes,
What was that Billy Crystal thing? It's better to look good than to feel good. You look marvelous.
You look marvelous. Yes. So very, very cool, that we're getting great response.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Sonic Asylum Radio will continue to, play this great music on our shows. Absolutely. And Lori say, metal expresses my emotions spot on. Because growing up, she was more into classic rock and such, and I pretty much turned her on to metal, and she's really now, again, understanding what it's really all about. And there's a whole beautiful side as well of metal. It's not always about doom and gloom and, current, issues that are going on in the world. I mean, metal can be very angry in it, and it puts us in a place where we can kind of get out our emotions through the music.
Yes.
And it's so important to have that kind of an outlet, to be a teenager, to be a kid, even an adult.
Of course.
You have to have that kind of outlet. Or if you want to have something, a little bit more mellow, or put on some Nightwish, put on some Within Temptation, and you kind of go into a whole other realm of what metal is, and and I really like your style of instrumental prog metal funk. I think that's a very good description of the kind of music that you put forth. You know. And Daddy Doug just had a comment that our discussion makes his accordion, clarinet, drum, Dom Polsky Hall Band in Detroit then seem much more musically somewhat simplistic. Yeah, my dad played a mean accordion back in the day.
Now my next album's going to have accordion.
Now, have you played...
Italian, you learn accordion.
Now, you do teach guitar and bass. Have you ever played any other instruments?
I tried playing piano a little bit. I tinker on the drums. There's a drum set in my basement. My younger son wanted to learn a little bit. I did try singing, and then I realized the cats were throwing shoes at me, so I'm not a singer. So, but, I always wanted to learn violin, for real.
Yeah?
I love the sound of a violin. I'm an Itzhak Perlman fan. And when I got into heavy metal and I was listening to Blackmore, and he was talking about how he derived his sound from classical music, I went, that makes perfect sense.
Yes.
And Yngwie Malmsteen and all those guys. So I never got the chance to learn violin, so what I did was I learned, because of Blackmore and Malmsteen, I was exposed to classical, like Paganini and stuff like that, so I figured I'm going to take these violin licks and add more distortion to them. So
excellent.
That's how I got that in a way, and but yeah, violin's an instrument I've always wanted to learn.
Well, it's never too late, and
no.
There's the electric violin too, which is very cool.
Pretty cool.
And a lot, talking about classical music, a lot of metal is derived, I think, from classical music. I'm thinking right off the top of my head of Berlioz and his Symphonie Fantastique. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you listen to that is so metal for whatever it was, the 1800s, or, that came out of this opium-induced mind of Berlioz. And there's a lot of bands out there that do neoclassical metal, which is pretty cool. Yeah. I love to hear, you'll hear a classical tune and put with a metal spin on it.
Yeah, when I opened for Uli Roth at Starland in 2012.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my
Amazing,
God, that was a hell of a show.
Wow.
That was a hell of a show, and he's a really funny guy too.
Is he? Yeah.
He opened his show with classical music, and he played guitar over it. I wish I could remember what it was. I think it was a Vivaldi concerto or something like that. But it was mind blowing.
Wow.
Because there's guys that play classical influenced metal, but he was playing actual classical music with
his guitar.
Spin on it, and it was just unbelievable. And he did mostly Scorpion songs, of course. But yeah, that was an intense show.
Wow, that's great.
That was an intense show. And Uli Roth is another influence of mine.
Oh, definitely. He's
the stuff
outstanding.
He did with Scorpions was just mind blowing for the 70s. Like, no one was playing like that. Yeah, Blackmore. Blackmore was always under the rug. Unfortunately, Uli Roth was always in the middle, and then when you got Eddie Van Halen and you got Yngwie Malmsteen and Randy Rhoads, these were guys who were taking it to the next level. But it's just like, check out where they got it from.
Right.
They had to start somewhere.
Exactly, and those are great influences. I mean, every single person that you've named has been just great influences, not only in yourself but to a lot of other musicians, as well. Now, sharing the stage with so many people in the music industry like you have, are there any shows that stand out or any funny stories that you can remember of anything happening, something in the crowd or something that went wrong on stage, or I can't imagine what goes on, or has everything just been cool, like.
Well, I've had Spinal Tap moments, but I think if I had to pick a really funny moment, it was ironically when I was not playing. It was going back to the Uli Roth gig. I'm thinking, I can't wait to meet him. And the owner of the Starland, it's a different guy now, but it was this guy, Chris. He comes out and goes, all right, if you have your tickets and your money, hand them in. So I'm like, I got to run to my car and get my money. So I'm like, I'll be right back. So I'm literally running to my car, and in walks Uli Roth with his guitar around his neck. I almost ran into him.
Oh my God.
I don't know how I stopped myself short. I was like, milliseconds, millimeters, I'm terrible. I was so close. I almost ran into him. I almost knocked him over. And I'm like, I almost knocked Uli Roth over. And I just stood there, and he looked at me, and he goes, "A pleasure to bump into you." I said, "Man, I'm so sorry. I swear I didn't see you. Oh my God, I feel bad." And I said, "I got to run and get my money, but I've got to shake your hand, and it's an absolute honor to be opening for you." And he goes, "Yeah, I almost didn't play tonight because you almost killed me."
Oh man!
And I was just like, "Oh my God, I'm dead."
That is so.
He's going to be making fun of me the whole night. He's like, "Get out of here!" So I get my money. I come back in. I walk up to him and I went, "I'm so sorry. Oh my God, please. My name is Steve Bello, and I'm opening for you." And he goes, "An absolute pleasure." And he goes, "Is the AC on? It's very cold in here." I said, "Yeah." And it was February.
Okay.
And I said, "Yeah, it's a bit chilly." And he yells to the sound guy, "Turn down the AC. I'm going to die." So he goes, "Oh, right away, sir." So I looked at him. I said, Can I see your guitar for a second? He goes, "Absolutely." I've got his Sky guitar around my neck. I'm like,
oh man.
So I figured I'm going to impress him. I started playing Sales of Sharon. And he goes, "You're playing it wrong." I'm like, "Oh no." I almost ran into the guy. Now I'm playing his song where he goes, "Everybody starts it here. You started here." And I'm like, I'm just going to go home. I'm just going to cancel the show. Okay. But he was really cool.
That's awesome.
Really cool. And when he played, it was mind-blowing. And he walked off stage, and I'm hanging with T.M. Stevens and T.C. Tolliver and a couple other guys. And, I walked up to him and said, "Oh, my God, that was so inspirational." And he goes, "Thank you very much. Thank you." Yes. And he goes, "I need to use the men's room now." But that was, like I said, that was a funny moment. It was when I wasn't playing. So.
That's so funny. But knowing you had to get on stage, and we were talking earlier about your pre-show rituals, and that must have gotten you all flustered, and you had to get back in a different zone before you actually went back on stage.
Yeah, because it's like I almost ran into one of my heroes. I'm the biggest moron alive. And I'm sure he went back to Jersey. "That's this guy in New Jersey. He almost killed me. And he plays my songs wrong." Ha. So when I was in Germany with TM and TC, I'm like, "Watch Uli be at the show." "See? I told you."
Can you imagine? That would have been too funny.
I would have died if he showed up. "You don't play my songs right." I'm like, "I know. I'm sorry."
That is so
I'm
funny.
ashamed of myself.
Oh my gosh. But how awesome is that to, share the stage with these people?
Oh, it was incredible.
You gotta love it. And, we were talking too, you're going to be at Hollowfest this year,
Yes.
October 21st.
Yes.
And the
Friday.
22nd, and you'll be playing that Friday night with another great bunch of bands. It's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be crazy. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm hoping to get out there and MC it because it was just so much fun last year. And do you have any other gigs coming up?
Yeah, I have September 3rd at Crossroads in Garwood. I'm opening for a really good friend of mine who's another Ibanez endorser, Rob Balducci. And going on before me is another friend of mine, a fantastic guitar player. His name is John Kernan. And it's going to be a great show, all instrumental. So if you want to hear singing, that's not the place to be. And, if I can mention the cover band, Mary's Basement, we're playing Allendale Bar and Grill September 16th. So we do a wide assortment of tunes from the Beatles to Black Sabbath, Prince, Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, very cool.
All points in between. We invite people up on stage to jam with us, and we've had some interesting requests. Then I'm playing, there's a tentative November 4th show, I think. I have to get back to you on that. But November, oh God, I hope I get the date right, November 19th, I've been asked to play a benefit concert for cancer research. What's interesting about this show is another friend of mine, you might know him, Carl Cochran.
It doesn't sound familiar.
He played with Thor in the 80s, and
then
he played with Joel Turner, and he played with the band Rated X with Joel Turner and Carmine Appice. He suffered a stroke a couple of years ago. He was playing with Flavor Flav at the Iridium, and then that night he had a stroke.
Oh my God.
So he's recovering. I saw him at the Joel Turner show. I didn't get to talk to him. I didn't want to bother him. But a friend of mine, her name is Lisa Newman, and this also is for her brother Herb Newman, who's a photographer. She emailed me and said, I would love for you to do this benefit concert. Now, I've had 2 family members that are cancer survivors, my mother and my aunt. And I thought, you know what? If I'm going to do a benefit concert, it's going to be for that. And
that's wonderful.
I really can't say who else is on the bill. I promised I wouldn't do that, but I'm sure if you go on my Facebook page and you scroll down a little, Lisa made a post about it. You can see who's on there. There's going to be more bands added to it. It's going to be a Dingbats.
Okay.
And and if anybody can't make the show, we do encourage donations. It's for cancer research.
Sure.
And and I've done other benefit shows in the past for autism because my younger son is autistic. And I actually did that show. I played with Bumblefoot. That was a lot of fun.
Oh wow. Okay.
And then I did a benefit show for pets, for animals. That was great. So I got a lot of.
That's really wonderful, Steve, that you do that.
I got a lot of things coming up. So.
Mm-hmm. That's very, very cool. To get out there and give back to so many worthy causes.
Yeah.
Especially when it hits more home to you as well. I mean, even if it didn't, they're still worthy causes because we need these cures and we need, and animal rescue, of course, so much education about that. That a lot of people just aren't aware of what really is going on. There's just so many flooded rescues.
Yes.
With, an overabundance of pets. And so that's really great that you do that. Very, very cool. And that's going to be in November at Dingbats.
Yeah, I think it's November 19th. It should be on my website. So I'm trying to remember my own shows. I think it's November 19th. It's a Saturday, I know that. So it's
very cool.
It's going to go on into the wee hours. There's going to be a lot of bands, a lot of prizes. Hopefully some of my endorsers will send me some swag to pass out, because even when I did the Pets Rock benefit back in 2013, I believe it was, Morley sent me a pedal to auction off, and then the former string company that I was endorsed with, they gave me strings that I could pass out, and Ibanez gave me a couple of shirts to pass out. For me, I love performing, but when it comes to a gig like that, it's not about me performing and promoting my music, it's about the cause.
Right.
And it's got to be something that I can get behind. I can't get behind, somebody stubbed their toe and we have to raise money for them.
Right.
It's just like, hey, I don't want to sound like an insensitive prick, but it's got to be something that's near and dear to me. And when this came up about cancer and my friend Carl and with my mother and my aunt, I'm like, all bets are off. I'm doing the show.
Right, exactly.
I don't care if I play 10 minutes.
No questions asked.
That's it.
You're there.
So.
Very, very cool. Absolutely. And again, the products that you endorse are Ibanez and the strings.
Yeah, Von York strings.
Von York strings.
Orange amps, Spectraflex, Morley pedals, Digitech pedals, Metal Shop pedal boards down in Avenel, New Jersey, Swiss picks, and then checkered pedals, of course, with my Nuclear Paradise pedal.
Right, which is so cool. The signature pedal that you have, as well as the cable.
Oh, yes.
So very, very cool. You have a lot of great things, and just a lot of good things to look forward to down the road as well. And we definitely look forward to hearing some new music. As you said, it's already pretty much in your head. You just have to, work on that. But in the meantime, we are going to enjoy Layers of Time.
Nice.
Absolutely. So what I want to do is, we'll probably, I don't know what kind of time restraints you have.
Couple minutes is fine.
Couple minutes,
cool.
okay, because I want to play some more tunes. And then we'll come back and we'll head out of the interview.
Nice.
Sound good?
Sounds
All right, so let's see. We have right now Too Far Below Zero queued up.
Oh, yes.
And let's see. How about we play Instant Amnesia?
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Sound
yeah.
cool? Okay, great. So go into a little bit about the song title, the meaning behind Too Far Below Zero.
Another deep one. At my former job, what I had to do was call stores to order so they could order strings. And there was a store in Minnesota, and Twin Town Guitars, and I miss those guys, and I miss talking to them. They're great people. And David is the guy that I talked to over there, and obviously, when it's freezing in Minneapolis, it's like all bets are off.
Right.
So I called him and I said, "Hey, man, just to be funny," I said, "How's the weather?" "Steve, it's too far below zero for man nor beast out there. You can't touch your doorknob without your hand falling off. It's just crazy out there. Too far below zero." And I wrote that down. And like I had mentioned earlier, I like the band The Fix,
right.
The guitar tones especially. And I always loved that really icy chorus sound on their songs. It was like a staple of 80s pop, and Joe Satriani and a couple other people. So this was actually the first song I wrote after I recorded Go Berserk in 2011, because that's just how I operate. I finished Go Berserk, and I'm like, I have another song already. I had the bass line first, which was weird. I had just a couple of notes, nothing fancy. And I played it for the bass player that I had in my band at the time, and he wouldn't do the song. He's like, "No, I don't like it. 280s." I'm like, 280s? That's the idea.
Right.
And it just sat there. And when I started putting songs together for Layers of Time, I pulled that bass line out. I'm like, now what chords am I going to put over this? And I had a different chorus pedal at the time. I kicked that on, and I heard that sound. I went, "Oh, there's the song." And it just fit with the music. And then I played it for Rosario, and he said, "Well, it's got to be a heavy part. That part's got to be heavy. Just shock people." And it just came together, and the melody, the little do-do-do-do kind of riff, I actually wrote back in 1994.
Wow.
So this song is a blend of 1994, 2011, 2010 actually, because that's when I was recording Go Berserk, and 2015. So it's from 3 different eras.
Wow, very, very cool. All right, guys. Well, we are going to play these tracks right now, Too Far Below Zero, and that is off of the latest release, Layers of Time. And then we're going to play another song off the album, Instant Amnesia. And we come back, we can go a little bit into that song as well. All right, and we are hanging out live with Steve Bello on Metal Euphoria, only on SonicAsylumRadio.com. are tuned into SonicAsylumRadio.com. This is Metal Euphoria, and I'm your hostess, Metal Maiden Vicky, and we are live today with Steve Bello in the studios, and the two tracks you just heard, Too Far Below Zero and Instant Amnesia, are both off of his latest release called Layers of Time. And Steve, we had a question posed in the chat room by Paul Panic, and first he said, wow, love the lead tone on this section on Instant Amnesia. And he is inquiring how you got that lead tone just before the funky part on Instant Amnesia.
Well, I don't know if he's talking about the first guitar solo or the second one, but I guess I'll just cover both. The first guitar solo, I just stepped on the wah pedal and left it in the high position or the treble position and just went to town. Nothing fancy. The second solo, I actually played one way and we spun it backwards. And we put this really funky phase on it because I really wanted a keyboard solo there. I wanted something to break it up, and I couldn't find a keyboard, so I said, all right, I'll just make noise.
Very cool.
You know, when all else fails, you make noise. I hope that answers this question, though.
Yeah, he just posted a first solo.
First
I guess
solo,
he was
yeah, that was.
to.
I just stepped on the wah pedal and let it rip.
Nice.
That's all I did.
Excellent. And Lori says that she likes how so many of your songs come from just a phrase or a sentence that sparks you.
That's how it's always been for me. You know, I get inspiration from the strangest places, you know, and if it hits me a certain way, I'm like, I got to act on it, you know.
Right, exactly. You know, that's what you have to do as a creative soul.
Sometimes I'll have a title months before I have the music. I mean, that's happened to me too, and sometimes I've had music and no title for a while, and then I'll just look at something and go, wait, that actually might work. So I just have off-the-wall inspiration. I really have no rhyme or reason behind it. It just happens.
Absolutely. Daddy Doug has to head out. I think he's
right,
going to be out and about, going out to dinner with his fiance. My dad's
nice.
all over the place. He's great. He
go.
said he loved meeting you, Steve.
Great, thank you. Same here.
Enjoyed the music. And yeah, Paul was saying nice whammy work on the second part, and was wondering about whether any phase was on it on the first
phase.
one. Yeah.
On the first solo, there was like a slow phaser. The second solo, we purposely added a much more wild phase because I wanted to simulate like a Jan Hammer kind of synth sound. You know, I guess it came out really. I know it came out really cool, but I guess I did the job.
Absolutely, and go into the meaning behind how you came up with Instant Amnesia.
Well, you meet people in your life that have hurt you, and then you see them years later, whether it's at a high school reunion or Facebook, and they act like they never treated you like shit. Like, hey, buddy,
Right.
how you going? Been a long time. And I'm thinking to myself, you were a jerk.
Okay, yes, we've all
Did you
experienced
forget that? Now it's like, and then I'll purposely bring something up, like, well, you know that one time in 7th grade? No, I don't remember that. No, I was always cool to you, man. So, Instant Amnesia. That's how I came up with the title. Like, you know, I'm sure there's a psychological term for it, but when people want to purposely blot out how they hurt you,
Right.
oh, no, you don't know what you're talking about, Steve. You're crazy. No, you were cool, man. No, I was always good to you. And I'm like, yeah, sure, you know, and...
Right. Okay, I get it. I definitely understand where you're coming from with that. You know, there's a lot of people that may reach out to you like Facebook and like, well, you never wanted to hang out with me back then.
Yeah, exactly.
Why do you want me now? Just to add another number to your friends list?
Well, I was telling a friend of mine, I heard a Deep Purple song and it reminded me of you. Yeah, but you made fun of me for liking Deep Purple.
Right. Exactly.
Well, I'm older now and I appreciate it much better.
Exactly.
Thanks.
Very cool. Now, next couple of questions I want to ask you are a little bit more off the wall, but it's something that I like to ask people. Who's your favorite cartoon character?
Wow. All time is Bugs Bunny.
Bugs Bunny, nice.
SpongeBob has to be number 2.
Okay, very cool.
Bugs Bunny's definitely up there.
Yeah,
Definitely
gotta love
up there.
Bugs, you know. The whole Looney Tunes is just
that's
pure genius.
Great stuff.
You know?
Great stuff.
And isn't it funny as you see it when you're older now,
Yeah, of course.
how adult-oriented
I
cartoons
learned
can
about
be?
that in college, yeah.
Right? You know, I mean, Bugs Bunny, some of the things he said were like, whoa.
It was pretty racy stuff, but it was cleverly hidden. I mean...
Exactly. That's what it is. It's cleverly hidden. And even a lot of Disney movies, you know. you look at certain things and you're like, this is very adult oriented.
Yeah.
Subliminal. Alice in Wonderland. I mean, if you want to go into it, was an acid trip.
Yeah.
But to us, it's a cute little girl who follows a bunny down a rabbit hole, and she meets all these really weird people, and but there's so many more. I think I took a class in college called Comedy and Absurdity of Literature, and it was pretty interesting. Yeah, I was an English major, and it was very, very interesting learning about a lot of fairy tales and just how crazy they were. And when you're a kid, you don't see that really until you're an adult. And I think we can appreciate Looney Tunes more now that we're an adult, or SpongeBob. I mean, honestly, I've never really watched a lot of SpongeBob, and I know that he's extremely popular, and he's pretty funny and trippy, on what goes on underneath the sea there.
Stuff. That was, I think my daughter was just born. It was 99, and my oldest son was 2 at the time. And, he was watching Rugrats and Hey Arnold, and cute kind of cartoons.
Sure, I love the Rugrats.
I couldn't jive to them personally, but I saw the coming attractions for this SpongeBob SquarePants. And I'm like, for some reason, I'm intrigued. And I saw the pilot episode, and I died laughing. I'm like, that's it, I'm done. I love this cartoon, and that was it.
See, I will have to delve more into this SpongeBob that lived in a pineapple under the sea, right? Now, we were talking earlier about one of your hobbies, of course, other than music, was astronomy and such. Now, do you believe that there is life on other planets?
That's a great question. I really don't know. I don't want to sound absurd and say, yeah, there could be, and run the risk of having people in the chat room going, oh, God, this guy's totally crazy.
No,
But I will say this. I came across a video on YouTube. I think it was Spaceship Cassini. One of the spaceships picked up music from Saturn.
Wow.
And it was like these really eerie, low notes. And then it was mixed in with these really high-pitched squeals.
Really?
And it sounded like a combination of like radio signals. And okay, if anybody's listening, I'm not out of my mind. It almost sounded like people talking.
Wow.
It was really intense, and it was like 32 minutes long. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but it was really, really weird and really eerie. And I'm thinking, there's got to be other music on other planets. And then you hear like they pass Jupiter, and you hear the wind, and you hear the storms, and to me, it sounds like music.
Wow, that's pretty intense, actually.
As far as life on other planets, I don't know.
I mean, maybe not human life so much, but just
they
some other
water
form
on Mars. Yeah,
right, exactly.
But if there's other people out there, buy my album. So.
And Gabby out there in the chat room hanging out today, she brought up Puff the Magic Dragon. Yes,
that's another one. That went over people's heads.
Exactly.
Oh,
And but yeah, so it's one of those mysteries that we probably may never know. I mean, there's been documents of aliens or whatever have you, and UFOs and all this and that, and so I'm open to it, of course. I mean, as we were talking about, it's a vast universe.
Oh, of course.
So, and one of my other off the wall questions: do you believe in reincarnation?
I was a shopping cart in my last life. I got pushed around a lot, so yes. That's my answer.
Okay. I'll take that answer. Absolutely. Well, Steve, we've had a great afternoon, man.
Awesome. Thank you.
This is really, really cool. And, we're going to head out of the interview, and I just want to, if you want to go over again the shows and where you're going to be coming up.
Okay, I'm going to be this Thursday, Starland Ballroom, with New Day Dawn, Bellfire, and, of course, the headliner, Lita Ford. Then September 3rd, Crossroads in Garwood with John Kiernan and Rob Balducci. September 16th with Mary's Basement cover band at Allendale Bar and Grill. October 21st at Hollow Fest in Newark, Delaware. That's going to be awesome. And November 19th at Dingbats for the Cancer Benefit Show for Carl Cochran and Herb Newman. And then after that, I don't know.
Very cool. That's a great...
I will be playing live in front of my cats, so that's going to be another fun show. And actually, my cats love when I play guitar, so it's pretty cool.
That is cool. And and I just found your Facebook page for Mary's Basement.
Yes.
And I'm going to put that in the chat room. I'm guessing it is the same page that I am on because it shows that you like it. So
yes.
There you go. I'm going to put that in the chat room for everybody. And very, very cool. So that's some great lineups to put you into the fall.
Nice.
And you said you're already starting to work on a follow-up to Layers of Time down the road?
Yeah, I have 6 songs pretty complete, and then 3 I'm still toying with, but the guys I'm playing with, they're very excited, so that's all I can ask for. Just, please dig the music. It's
exactly.
Important. It's like my kids,
Exactly. Now what I want to do is head out of the show with another tune. So let's see, why don't you pick a song here.
Let's see, what didn't we do from Layers of Time? How about the first song?
Okay.
Postcards from Mars, since we were talking about planets. Let's end with that.
Postcards from Mars. Okay, great. And what I want to do is pick out a tune of something that you want to hear. One of your influences or anything. If I have it, I will play it for you.
Okay, well, if you have... Oh, wow, that's so many.
I know.
How about if you have Deep Purple, Hard Lovin' Man off of In Rock?
Excellent choice.
I love that song. I think inspired Iron Maiden to be Iron Maiden.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, when you listen to the Gallop, I can picture Steve Harris going, I think I'm going to do that on all my albums. So.
Excellent. You know what? Now, when I hear it, I'm going to listen to it in a whole new light. And that was Hard Lovin' Man, correct?
Yep. Yeah.
All right, cool. I will definitely listen to that in a whole new light. Now that you're saying that. All right, guys. Well, I want to thank you so much, Steve, for being on my show today. It has been a total blast, and learned a lot about your music, about you as a person, how you got to get to the point of where you are at today with your musical influences, going back to the age of 9.
Yes.
That you've been, involved in music, and that's awesome. Is there anything that you would like to say to everybody out there listening?
Yes. Happy birthday tomorrow from my father.
Happy birthday.
He's going to be 71 tomorrow.
Excellent.
And, check out my website, stevebellorocks.com. Check out the video, the audio, buy the album, buy tickets, come see me play, make me feel important. And, metal is good.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're getting great responses in the chat room, and all is good. Great interview. Paul is a total fan of yours now.
Oh, great.
Gabby is saying that that you're just as chatty as you are in person on the radio, and that we should call you Gabby.
Thanks, Gabby. Thanks a lot.
It's all good. It's all good. We love it. We love it. All right, Steve. Well, I look forward to hopefully getting you on the show again down the road. And awesome. Thank you so much again for being on Metal Euphoria and Sonic Asylum Radio. And what I'm going to do now, we're going to head out of the interview with another track off of Layers of Time, and I'm going to play Postcards from Mars. And if you could briefly tell us how you got that title.
I needed a song about Mars, and you're going to laugh, but I think it's Coldplay, because my daughter loves Coldplay. They have a song called Postcards from the Earth, I think it's called. I could be mistaken. So I figured, what the heck, Postcards from Mars, and it just sounded like it rhymed.
Excellent.
Just made no sense to me, but at the same time, it made total sense. So
awesome.
It would it be?
All right, so we're going to play Postcards from Mars, and then we're going to follow up with Deep Purple, Hard Lovin' Man.
Yes.
And then we will be back on Metal Euphoria on SonicAsylumRadio.com, the best underground music on the planet, period.